name's Bond. James Bond.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I drink your milkshake.
You can't handle the truth. You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Movie Mafia podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Trout, joined here again by Max, Lauren, Carter. Got the whole group together. Unfortunately, Gabby couldn't make it for this podcast, but that's okay, because we're still here. And you know what, guys? It's been a crazy past, week or so, especially for me. Temple's kind of, the semester has ended. I've officially graduated. A lot's been going on. What have you guys been up to these past couple of days?
Graduated.
Nice.
Get a round of applause for our graduates.
Thank you. How does it feel, Lauren? That's what everyone asks me. How does it feel to be graduated?
So, I don't have a job lined up or anything. So I kind of feel free for the first time. My whole life, I was forced to do education. And now I'm not being forced to go to school for the first time. And I'm like, wow, I have a life. I can do things with myself and have hobbies and go outside. So it's very fascinating. And my cat's wearing a cone. You can see he's right there.
Aww. Yeah, I mean, everyone keeps asking me that exact same question, how does it feel? What are you going to do with yourself? And the answer is, I have no idea. But,
Yeah.
but what I do know is, I
What
love
we do
movies,
know
is what I know.
Is you're podcasting full time now?
That's true. Oh, man. Do you guys have any plans over the summer? Going on any vacations or anything?
Yeah, I'm heading down to Disney World in July for me and my brother's birthday. It's going to be
Nice.
a lot of fun going down there. Looking forward to that.
Nice, man. Awesome. I feel like, you definitely need some vacations after the year that everyone in this country has had, after this year. Man,
For
I just need a
sure,
vacation.
Yeah. Movie Mafia vacation.
Honestly, guys. That's gonna happen. We're gonna do a Movie Mafia vacation. You heard it here, everybody,
We
all right?
just go to where they film movies.
Yeah.
Hollywood, baby.
We're
Movie
going to
Mafia
Hollywood.
takes Hollywood.
Come here, guys. Come here to LA.
Or
Why
in
not?
BoJack Horseman, it's just Hollywood.
Yeah.
And you know what? Max is right. I totally forgot you're up in LA, Max. So
Yeah.
we can just come right there and you'll just be waiting for us. Have the whole
Yeah.
welcome
Yeah.
wagon out ready for
Show the
us.
tours. Universal. The Warner
We
Absolutely.
should
Brothers.
get a tour bus.
Huh? Oh
We
yeah.
Tour bus.
A tour
That would be
bus?
fun.
Or a
I'll bring
limo
my cat.
and just limo around the city. Oh my god.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so sponsor us on Patreon.
Yeah, for real. Start a GoFundMe.
Oh, we might have to save that for the next episode.
Need a
But
Kickstarter.
oh my gosh. Well, with that being said, we do have some movie news to jump right into, and I wanted to start this show off right. We talk about it every episode, but one of the big things we watched on the show when we first, really restarted up again was WandaVision, and then after WandaVision ended, we had Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now that has ended, we have this grace period in between. We'll have the Black Widow movie and the Loki TV series, so we have this kind of area that needed to be filled, this void, this empty void in the Movie Mafia podcast. But it has now been filled by the Bad Batch. So, Carter, Max, you guys take it over. What have you guys have watched the first 2 episodes of Bad Batch? What are your thoughts?
I mean, it was just really nice, first of all, that Disney got to spoil us. We got last Tuesday, obviously, May the 4th, Star Wars Day. We got the 90-minute premiere, and then 3 days later, Friday, we got another 30-minute episode. So we get a just huge introduction to the series. It felt like, I don't know, kind of a long time coming, just seeing this sort of post Order 66 Star Wars, an immediate aftermath of Order 66. That's sort of before we get into basically the gist of the episode, just that's what I really enjoyed about it. Just seeing the Republic transitioning into the Galactic Empire is just this really cool thing we've never really seen in Star Wars before. So it was cool to see this from the perspective of clones, especially these rogue clones. So obviously they're not really for it. They're not trying to join the Empire right now, and them kind of on the run Like, I don't know, it's just really good. It felt very Clone Wars. A lot of people are saying it's like Clone Wars season 8. But yeah, it's nice to have that feeling again. Max, what do you think?
That's how I felt. I really loved that we actually, as you said, saw the transition of power because in Rebels it was in between. It was right before New Hope, but still we didn't really get. It was just the Empire again. So it was cool to see how people were reacting to the change, and we really saw that in Episode 2 a lot. But yeah, and I also like as someone who's spent the time watching Clone Wars and Rebels, rewarding fans. I think Filoni did that with The Mandalorian as well in season 2. In this show, if you've seen Rebels, the opening scene, I was losing my mind. I was like, oh my God, Kanan's going to show up. Kanan's going to show up. And then Kanan showed up. I was losing my mind with that episode. And then I liked how subtle episode 2 was. It was very quiet episode with a character who was from a really nice Clone Wars episode in season 2, who I really enjoyed. And it felt, the animation was terrific, just like the last season of Clone Wars was. It's really great animation. It's a very deep show too. It's not, everyone attributes, Clone Wars and Rebels, if you haven't seen it, to just being a children's show because it's animated. But I think even Bad Batch proves that it's just a very philosophical, deep show. And now they're tackling, fatherhood versus being a soldier and the difference of talking to a kid, and the Omega and Hunter relationship is really good. And I'm really enjoying the show so far.
Yeah, it's really interesting the way that they're taking, not the way that they're taking Omega, but I think the way that people are receiving Omega, because just as like a longtime Star Wars fan, and like Filoni too, it's when Clone Wars came out, they introduced Ahsoka. Not everybody, but a lot of people bashed Ahsoka, didn't like her at all. Same thing happened when Rebels came out. A lot of people bashed Ezra, and like the reception I'm seeing from like the Star Wars community right now is that everyone loves Omega, which I mean, I can't really blame them. Like I don't know. I don't know if I like her better than I initially liked Ahsoka or Ezra, but I want to learn more about them more than more about Omega than I wanted to learn about Ahsoka and Ezra, if that makes sense. Like I feel like there's definitely something going on with her. She's more than just a normal clone, is basically the gist that we're getting so far. And I'm hoping that that's something that they give in season 1 and don't wait for later. Do you know if they confirmed if there are going to be more seasons? Oh, okay. So it might just be a one-off thing, but I don't know. If there are multiple seasons, I definitely hope we get some answers in season 1 because I wouldn't want to end up waiting.
Yeah, and I did love the ending of episode 2 where Hunter gives her off to Cut and his family. And that was also kind of not the wrong decision, too. She maybe probably would have had a better life anyway. But the fact that she wants to stay with the Bad Batch and she has more to grow and he has more to learn, I think the balance of the Bad Batch is really, really good. Echo got a lot more to do in episode 2, which I really enjoyed. Him and Tech's banter was cracking me up. I know a lot of people were like, wow, we went from 70 minutes, whatever, to 30, but that's just Clone Wars. Clone Wars is usually just 30. So it felt right at home this episode. And it feels like Star Wars. It feels like we haven't had Clone Wars in a while, even though we just had the last season, but it feels like we're right back in the universe. And the fact that we have 14 more episodes is just insane.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I'm also kind of glad they got rid of the like, I feel like especially in Mandalorian, but like kind of just in Star Wars in general, like the old like guy taking on the father figure position and not being sure if he should like take on the younger person. I'm kind of glad we got that part out of the way with this episode, because I mean you figure it's coming with Hunter being like this clone soldier. He's not used to like being around children, and like when that started this episode, I was like, oh, we're doing this again. But then I was like, you know what? It had to happen eventually. Let's just get it over with so we can get into the interesting stuff as the series goes on.
And
Just some essential character development there.
I also like the comparison that people are making with like Omega, with comparing her to like Rey or Luke in a way where they are secluded, lived on one place their entire lives, then gets a chance to explore and be a part of the universe, like basically being us in this universe. And I thought they've done excellent job. Like having her, the ending shot of the episode, of the first episode, was really touching. And when she sees them go to light speed, and then the opening of episode 2 where she like learns about dirt, all that stuff, I really enjoyed seeing the galaxy through her eyes, which is I think why a lot of people are gravitating towards her more than those other characters.
Definitely, yeah.
Absolutely. I've been a big Star Wars fan pretty much my entire life, and Clone Wars is something I watched, when I was a kid for years, and then kind of went back to a couple years ago. So, I unfortunately I never ended up watching the final season that they came out with. Um, but I think I'm really excited to get a chance to go back to that and watch that, and then so I'm caught up on this, and so I can watch Bad Batch along with you guys. And I just think the Star Wars universe. I think I said this last episode, but the Star Wars universe is kind of just something that has always interested me, and I feel like you know, there's always been something Star Wars related happening.
Mm.
I think we've had a little bit of a gap between the last Star Wars movie and then now the show. Um, but I'm really excited that Star Wars is back. I guess like the last Star Wars thing we had before this was The Mandalorian, and honestly, I wasn't really that much of a fan. We, you might have to argue
This
with
is
me
a
about it.
shock.
You might have to argue
Wow.
with me about it. The
We've
Mandalorian
never
was
talked
so
about this
lame.
before.
The Mandalorian was
What?
so lame.
Come on.
It was
How
terrible.
could no way?
I love the second season. I love
the whole
I
plot
can't-
the whole plot was just like, oh, Baby Yoda, and the show became more of like, oh, all the fan service to people who love Baby Yoda rather than actual plot.
Not
What are you
really.
talking about? No
Bro,
way.
the plot was
Baby Yoda
so
is
weak.
the plot.
Exactly,
That's
it's so weak.
the focus is Mando trying to find out where he belongs. That's
Yeah, it's
the
really
premise
simple.
of the
For
show.
2 seasons.
Yeah.
Because he's not a Jedi.
It's like that was like a 3-episode plot. I cared about it for like a couple episodes, and I'm like, all right, they're
Oh
still
my
trying to find
God.
out. Like, dude, he's
I've
still
never
trying to
met
find out.
anyone who thought The Mandalorian was lame.
Maybe I get it from the point of view if you're not loving Clone Wars, maybe like Card and I who like loved all the Bo.
No, I loved Clone Wars. I loved every season
Then
of
how
Clone
could
Wars.
you not? Did you
Because
watch
there was
season 2 of The
Jedi, and there
Mandalorian?
was Jedi, there was action, actual action.
There's
like-
so much action in The Mandalorian.
But it's
The
like
Mandalorian
slow.
is some
It's all
of
like
the best
slow
Star
and
Wars
like.
action we've had in
Okay,
like
do
ages.
you guys remember? Do you guys remember the scene from like around like in the first couple episodes in the first season where the Mandalorian's trying to get out of their little town and all the people are like attacking him?
Yeah,
And
that
and-
seems awesome.
lame. The action
No,
was
with
so
all the
bad.
guild members going after him,
So
it's
bad.
so good.
And
no,
then like
and then
his
it's literally
lame
like down to the
dialogue
nick,
where
and
he's
then
like,
the rest
his lame
the
dialogue
rest of
where
the
he's like,
Mandalorians
"Ooh."
come in to save him. It's so good. That's that episode is
Bro,
great.
the lame scenes where he's giving his dialogue and he's just like,
Oh.
oh, I'm so tough. I'm the Mandalorian. Oh, I don't have any emotions. And then he's
When
like,
did that
also
happen?
this.
I don't-
Remember when he's making his armor? He's like repairing his armor or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's all talking, and like the way he talks is like, oh, I'm so tough. Like all the we're such an elite trained, people, and we just like have no emotions and like and at the
But
same
that-
time like
But you're
oh
missing
soft
the whole
baby Yoda's
purpose
so
of the
cute.
second
Like-
season. The purpose of the second the reason that we have all that like Mandalorian culture, like I'm so like into this and everything, is so that in season 2, with the
Yeah.
introduction of Bo-Katan, like Mando learns that basically that his section, I don't know what the word they use to describe it, his like clan is bullshit. Like
Yeah.
that's the whole point of the second season. He's like, I've been worshipping this my whole life for no
Cult,
reason.
Like a cult. Like he's been in a
Yeah.
cult secretly. Yeah, he doesn't know of. And Bo-Katan's like the more mainstream, I guess, religion of Mandalorians.
Maybe
We won this argument.
I can't get into it just because
And Moff Gideon.
I
oh,
live
Yeah.
action Star Wars has to be in movies. All right.
No,
And
it
No,
animated has to be in the cartoon.
it works
Animated has to be in
so
TV
well
series.
on TV.
Come on.
Live action Star Wars works so well as a series.
It does. Because you get more hours with the characters. Like, you get
Mhm.
more stuff to do.
That's the thing. Yeah, the dynamic between Mando and Baby
Yeah,
Yoda.
they get
would be
more hours so
compelling
he
if
can stare blankly at like.
so they can develop as.
Oh,
This
and
is
look at all the
exactly why
facial
the
expressions
sequel
on his face.
trilogy
Oh wait, he can't take off his helmet.
That's why the
Awesome.
show's great. The
God.
show's great because you don't need
'Cause you
him to do
care-
that.
Exactly. Come on. Okay.
Bro, I watched half
This
the first
show-
season and I gave up when they were on the when
Oh my
he met the woman on the forest planet.
Are you kidding me?
I gave up. That was when I gave up in the first
So
season.
you
I
haven't
was like,
seen
this is
anything
so
past
boring.
season. So you haven't seen anything past.
No, I saw the
episode
Luke
4.
Skywalker scene in season 2 because I thought it looked.
And
cool.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's what. You can't do that. Oh my gosh. First of all, you ignored the second half of season 1, which is the best
Because it
part of
was
the show so
bad. I
far,
was
in my
so
opinion.
bored.
The last 2 episodes of season 1 are like ballpark Star Wars. Like that is like that's it's so good.
Well, it has to be interesting enough for me to get there.
It
It
is.
wasn't.
I mean, that's your opinion. I guess you can have your opinion.
You're like, I've never heard any, because I was about to literally say that Star Wars is now going into the good graces of fans again after the new trilogy's been done.
Oh my god,
Everyone
I could tear
thought-
apart the new trilogy.
Everyone I
Yeah,
thought.
well, yeah, but
Well, Force Awakens is actually pretty good, but
I'm a Last Jedi fan. If we really want to start an argument,
Oh,
I think it's the
what?
best of the sequels. It's the most unique.
Oh,
It feels like it's trying to do its own
oh.
thing, and I respect it for that.
Okay.
I think Lauren's gonna
What?
kill us if we don't stop talking about Star Wars soon.
Bro.
Not to get out of my Last Jedi defense, but no, I enjoyed
I
the Last
cannot
Jedi.
defend them light speeding a ship and it just destroys their whole fleet. Like, so no
Okay,
one ever
well,
did this before. No one ever thought of this. Like,
it's suicide. I mean, like, okay.
so just why couldn't
whatever.
it just been a robot?
No,
This is
I'm
like
not
the future.
I'm
Like,
not defending the entire movie. All I said is that it's the most unique, and for me, it's the most
so
enjoyable out of the
dumb.
new three
It's the
movies.
most well-made movie. It's definitely the most.
I
Yeah.
got to admit, it is the
The
funniest
cinematography
movie.
is fantastic. It's one of the best shot
Very
Star
well
Wars
made.
movies for sure.
I think that's actually do think it was shot really well, but I think a lot of that has to do with the time. Like, I think a lot of the older Star Wars movies were not shot as well because they were made in, like, you know, the early 2000s.
They also
or
look good
prior.
though. The prequels.
Yeah.
The first two
I
prequel movies
agree,
are
I
good.
agree, but they're not as masterful as now, and I think that just has to do with them being made 20 years later.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, even with that comparison, I think The Last Jedi is like light years away from The Force Awakens and especially The Rise of Skywalker.
Well,
in that sort of
I just don't
aspect.
think The Rise of Skywalker was that grand, which is
It
kind of one
was
of the reasons it
the
was taken away. But I don't
worst
think it
Star
was.
Wars movie, in my
I
opinion.
actually think it was the best of the trilogy.
I was gonna bring up the fact that
Oh,
no. It's the Rise of Skywalker is the worst.
No,
but
Last
I
Jedi
was
is the
Yeah.
worst. The Last Jedi is the worst.
no.
The
I
Force
was gonna say
Awakens
that.
is the most average movie ever. Ugh.
bringing up TV and stuff. That's why Rise of Skywalker really didn't work for me. Is because it felt like a rushed film. Like everything just had to boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom, boom,
it
boom.
sucked.
Nothing had time to breathe. So that's why I love The Mandalorian because it really took its time in the
Yeah.
show.
Fair enough.
And
I mean,
Obi-Wan's gonna be a TV show if you like it or not. Obi-Wan.
That's gonna be great.
Vader's gonna be
I
in it.
actually can't wait for that. I
It's
love
gonna be
that. I can't wait for
awesome.
that.
I think they said it's only gonna be 4 episodes though. Like it's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be a
gonna be a
really
series.
limited series.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
still they're all gonna be probably over an hour though too. So it's
Oh
not
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
And Boba Fett comes out in December, so
Yeah, that's
exciting.
gonna be great.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll have to go back and give The Mandalorian a second opinion, all
need
right? But I
to.
will
You
die
call
on the
it.
hill that The Last Jedi is the worst of the 3 movies, all right? And we will have to come back to that and argue more about it in the future.
I'm
Okay.
okay with that.
promise. All right.
Future argument.
Well, with that being said, I think we should close out Star Wars, for the episode, and I do want to jump right into our other big news that we had for the podcast today. So Venom 2, we got a first look at the trailer for Venom 2. It's called Venom: Let There Be Carnage. So obviously this is going to be the movie where Woody Harrelson's character, is Carnage, and he's going to be the villain opposite of Venom. The trailer was okay. I thought the original trailer for Venom, the first Venom movie, was really good because I just thought the special effects were so good and like I had this really good blend of comedy and action. And this trailer felt like that, but just a dumbed down version of that. Like it wasn't as good. There was just like
You like the first movie?
yeah, I had no issues with the first movie. I think there were definitely a lot of people said it wasn't comic accurate, and I think the plot was definitely lacking. But for a movie that had the plot was bad. But
Oh, I
for
can't wait to get into this.
but I don't think
The Jacob hates everything podcast.
no, I'm defending it. I'm defending it. I'm
No,
defending it. The plot was bad, but the special
Max and
effects.
Jacob.
Come on. You can't argue with me on this with Venom. The
Venom's a
special
train wreck.
effects,
No,
were amazing on Venom. I thought the
When
special
it's daytime,
the special effects on
Venom fights
Venom
at night
were
the whole
so
movie.
good.
I'm just laughing
it
at the
looks
way.
so good.
you can't see.
The transformation? No, you definitely can see it. It looks so good, like the motorcycle and the scene and
Yeah,
everything.
the last fight, you can't see what the hell's going on.
Well, yeah, but everything else, I mean, yeah. But okay, so what I like about Venom is the special effects and like the CGI on Venom itself and the transformation scenes are really cool. I like the inner monologue because that's never been explored before in an actual like movie. I know we really haven't seen Venom that much in movies, but that's never been explored before other than I assume comics or something because I haven't read
Yeah.
anything like that. But other than
Yeah.
that, Venom in this way has never been explored. I thought that's totally unique and fits perfectly. Also, I thought the comedy, the back and forth between Venom and Eddie was really funny in the first movie. I thought that worked perfectly. And then obviously the plot was so. The bits with him and the other and his love interest, they had like no chemistry. Him as a reporter, he had like zero. Like I could not believe he was a reporter at all. And the motivation for the villain made no sense. It was what Riot, right? I
Yeah.
think in the first movie, and then the final fight scene was terrible, and whatever. But I think
Yeah.
what I liked about Venom is that like he was cool. For one, he looked good. He was cool and it was funny, and the action was good. I liked the action. So like I think that's good enough, and I really wasn't expecting much from Venom. So like I don't think I could get disappointed because it wasn't like I was expecting much. Whereas when I look at like maybe a Spider-Man movie, I know that the character of Spider-Man can be done so much better. So I expect a lot from it.
Oh,
Whereas like I don't really expect that much from Venom. I mean, all we saw from him before was him being terrible in Spider-Man 3. So there
yeah.
really was a pretty low bar for him. But yeah. So
Definitely.
my thoughts on this trailer were it just looks worse, you know,
Oh,
worse. Like the comedy isn't as good, and Carnage just looks like Riot Part Two.
I actually loved the look of Carnage in the trailer. That was my favorite part of the trailer was
He's
Carnage.
just red Venom.
Yeah, no, but he looks really cool. The different effects, the fact that he can stretch, and the last shot of him at the church building was really cool. It for me just felt like the same movie, which for me was just a train wreck of a film. It was just a mess. And it's weird because the amount of top tier actors that the first film got and the second film, like you said, love interest. I mean, Michelle Williams is a list actor at the moment in Hollywood. She's one of the best actresses in Hollywood, and she did nothing. Um, Woody Harrelson's in this one. But the reason why, though, I'll say this, why I was excited for this film is because Andy Serkis is directing the film, which is different. Ruben Fleischer's directed the first one. He did the Zombieland films. Serkis is directing this one, and I was excited because he directed the Netflix Jungle Book film, Mowgli, that I thought was actually pretty good. And I think he does have a dark tone that I like as a director, so I was excited for it. But it kind of just felt like the same movie. There was some comedy that, yes, the banter between Tom Hardy's deep Venom voice and Tom Hardy was really funny, and it was funny. Now, the first scene they needed to cut the opening trailer scene. It went on forever. With him cooking the food for him. I couldn't believe it kept going, but it was funny, I guess. But I'm excited. The whole movie's gonna stretch on is Carnage a good villain or not? Because um, it feels like a mess again. The plot isn't really that clear. It just seems like Eddie Brock visits him for some reason in prison all the time, and Carnage then gets, I guess, addicted to thinking about Eddie Brock and wants to break loose. So I am not really, and it's the same writer, I think, too. So I'm not really totally excited for the story, but it still looks cool. As you said, like the visual effects, they were cool. It was still just I couldn't see half the action that was going on in Venom. So hopefully we get to see some of that in this movie.
Yeah, definitely. I think something that I just can't understand fully is how you can criticize Venom, but also like Far From Home.
What? Why are you
Enjoyed
comparing
Far
Venom and
From
Far
Home.
From Home?
Bro,
Far From
Far
Home's a
From
way
Home
better
has
film.
the weakest plot ever. First,
What?
or not? Yeah, I'm thinking of the right. Yeah, Far From
Oh,
Home. Yeah, dude, the movie starts out with
come
them all
on.
getting like blipped back, and it makes it a joke. They literally take all the events from
It's because
Endgame and
that's
they
the
start
tone of the
laughing at it.
movie.
Well, it's the first movie after Endgame, and they're all just laughing, and they have like the little
What's the point?
montage of all the guys. They turn a really important moment into like, ha ha, funny MCU joke.
And then
So it
that's
takes
why we
any it
got.
takes any substance out of it and reduces it to another crappy joke. And then they're
That's
just
why
and
we
then all of
got.
a sudden Peter's like, I'm really depressed. I know what I'm gonna do, guys. I'm gonna go on vacation and try to like win a girl. And then like he instantly turns from being depressed about Tony's death to all of a sudden he's just like, I'm gonna try to like get MJ to like me. And like she
What?
was actually
No,
so good
but
in
it was.
Homecoming, and she just took a dive down for the worst in Far
Are
From
you
Home.
kidding me?
It's
You thought
so
Zendaya was
lame.
good in Homecoming and bad in Far From Home?
She had no plot in Far From Home. None. The whole thing was just, and then oh my god, the best part of the movie was Jake Gyllenhaal's character. But like, how can you? I don't understand how you can be like, oh yeah, so Peter just deciding out of nowhere to go to where did he go? Like one of the cities in Europe, I forget. Um, just such a lame movie. Wherever he
Yes.
went,
Do you agree with me
Italy
or
or
him?
something.
Like, Far
Bro,
From Home. I mean, come
he's
on.
just like, oh yeah, Tony Stark died, and all a bunch of the Avengers died, and like the Endgame, and like people were blipped all over the place, and now everyone's back, and like I lost all these years, but like high school, let's go, hey, like eh, he was depressed for like 6 minutes in the show, and then all of a sudden he spends the rest of the show trying to win MJ over,
No, he
and
was
I
pressed
just
most
can't.
of
I no, he's trying to win her over, and he's like, I can't understand how this guy
I
who's so consumed by
no,
his loss of
I
Tony Stark can just
I
love MJ.
okay.
I just
Wait, okay.
I don't
Can
buy
I
it.
can I defend really quick? Rebuttal. I think the point he wasn't just depressed at the beginning. The movie's about him trying to balance his life as Spider-Man and his life as Peter Parker. Because he
and
can't
being
show
that
his
Iron Man.
yeah, he can't show his grief over Tony while he's Peter Parker because people will know he's Spider-Man. He's trying to keep that away from everyone else, I think is the point. So, it's not that he's not grieving over Tony for the rest of the movie and that he just like got over it. I think it's just that he was trying to like sort of hide that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
I didn't like it more than Homecoming because I thought Vulture was she was a
Mhm.
better villain than Mysterio because the only scene that I just hated in Far From Home was when Mysterio had his big reveal that he was the villain to his whole group. That's the only scene I didn't like. It was too ridiculous for me. But overall, the whole film is pretty much a fun because again, I don't think after Endgame, I think everyone didn't want a depressing film.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
Spider-Man is supposed to bring a fun, but also it set up a whole phase of
Mhm.
movies with the Skrulls and Nick Fury in space and Spider-Man's identity being revealed.
Yeah, that
It set up
post-credit scene was
so
insane.
much. And I do love Far From Home. I do.
The best movies in the MCU are all movies that are hard hitting and emotional in some respect, in my opinion. I think that's what makes a good movie. And I understand the idea of having a Thor Ragnarok funny movie where you mess around and have fun and like a Guardian style, like whatever. Like that's cool. I like that. But I just
Well,
think all you do is you undermine Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. You come back to back off that, and then you undermine it by like changing the tone completely. It just doesn't work for me. And then
So what else don't you like?
yeah.
look, I like
I don't
Venom.
know.
I like Venom, and if
Venom,
I
then
can't
Far From
understand people liking the lazy plot. Like I think there's a lot of really
No,
cool
I'm
moments
It's
in
not
Far
a
From
lazy
Home.
plot.
The plot is
yeah.
so lazy, bro. It's so lazy.
It's a
It
plot
just
about a kid
like
who
okay,
literally
like
It's okay.
Carter was saying he was trying to internalize it all and he couldn't show it. I'd love to see more of his struggle as a person. I'd love to see more of his internal conflict. All I think about is the moments where he was on the plane or the bus, I forget. I think the plane with Ned, and he was like, "Oh man, here's my 5 point plan on how I'm gonna win MJ over." I don't believe that someone in that much emotional pain would be able to instantly search for love. Like I think the movie should have ended with him with MJ, but I just wish it was more authentic. I just don't buy their connection. I really don't think
Well,
they have
what
any chemistry at all either. But
oh
I just don't buy his motivation to be with her. And it
what's
makes that when it finally happens so underwhelming to me.
what's the time jump between Endgame and
it's
Far
gotta be a
From
couple
Home?
months after Endgame.
Yeah, I think I don't see a problem with Peter
I think
wanting to
6 months
I want to
after
see
move
him
Endgame.
on with
grieving.
his
I want to
life.
see him grieving. Like I want
Yeah,
I
but
want
You
to know
want
that
to
it's
see him
important to
like
him.
crying on the floor in his own
I just want to see that
Yeah.
it was important to him. I want to see that it was
It
valuable.
was. They say he talks about that's the whole great thing about seeing that there's like murals and posters of Iron Man
Mhm.
everywhere is that he can't escape anything. That's the whole point of the movie. The point of your point is that for the most of the movie, he's trying to escape. He's trying to escape that thing. He's trying to move on basically, but he can't escape anything. He can't escape being. He has to still be Spider-Man, even though he just wants to take a regular trip because he's like a 16, 17-year-old kid. And then he's also seeing Iron Man everywhere, and he's expected because Iron Man was his mentor to be the next Iron Man for the biggest superhero out there, and it's a lot of responsibilities for a kid. So again, I'm not gonna keep fighting about it. I just think the plot of him not escaping, the fact that he can't escape what I think Invincible tackles this too. Not escaping now, you can balance your your main life as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, but also responsibilities in a world where you have to be an Avenger. I think a lot of that does balance it out very well. So that's why I really like Far From Home. Again, it's not better than Homecoming.
Jacob just might be a masochist and just loves pain and suffering.
Okay.
He doesn't want Peter Parker to enjoy himself. He wants pain.
He also doesn't like Tom Holland. So, what do I
Wait,
know?
do you really?
He's all right. I don't have an issue with him, but like
I think he's the best Spider-Man.
He's my least favorite of the three.
I mean, come on.
I don't have an issue.
The movies
with
are
him,
better
but-
than the movies are better than the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but Andrew Garfield's a better actor. So
He might be better like overall,
But
I guess. But Spider-Man?
He's a better actor, but not a better Peter Parker or Spider-Man. Tom Holland fits
I
the
think
best.
Andrew Garfield is a better Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man movies than Tom Holland is in his movies. Like I think his tone fits perfect for his movies. I think A+.
I don't know.
I think he's the perfect Spider-Man for his movies.
Well, he'll be the person waiting in the theater, waiting to see Andrew Garfield. Well, the rest of us are just
Yeah.
interact to Tobey Maguire.
Well, I want to see Tobey Maguire, but like Tom Holland, bro.
I don't care about Garfield. I don't care about Electro coming back. I just want to see the.
Yeah, I don't care about Electro coming back either.
No,
I
I'm
like
interested
the first
in seeing
Amazing
what they do
Spider-Man.
with Electro.
I don't give a crap about the Amazing Spider-Man.
Really?
Carter,
I can't stand 2. I can't watch the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, it's really bad.
too
I mean, I'm just interested in seeing, because it's you have to admit it's really bold for them to bring back Jamie Foxx's Electro after what everyone thinks about the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like they have to have something good planned if they're.
They have a lot
That's
to
true.
fix. That's all. Because they don't have to fix anything with Doc Ock. Their character's already so good.
Yeah,
That's
Electro
true.
to fix just a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all fair. I do blame myself for getting us on this tangent. We were talking about Venom, and I just had to open
Star
my
Wars
mouth. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm
Still
passionate
Welcome to the
today.
the Jacob and Max argue on everything.
I
podcast.
haven't ate any food all day. I think I'm just hangry, and I'm
You
taking
can
it out on the
tell.
podcast.
Yeah.
Get him a left Twix.
Oh my god. Honestly, I need a left Twix. But yeah, going back to Venom though, I do think I'm excited to see what the movie's gonna be like. At this point, I just want to see more movies. I just feel like we're so movie deprived. I think that's starting to change, but
This past week started.
yeah,
With summer movies. So now every week, there's a new movie coming out. Like A Quiet Place and Cruella come out last week, the Memorial Day in May. I mean, so it's crazy right now. So I think it's great, and I literally got Black Widow as a trailer again, and I'm super pumped for Black Widow. So, but Venom, I can't wait to see the Venom trailer in a theater. That's what I'm really excited for when I go back this weekend, because hopefully I get that in my theaters. But because then I can have better thoughts on the trailer. But I'm excited. I guess I'm excited for it, but. I mean, it's setting up a franchise. We talked about it off air how there's Spider-Man references in with the Daily Bugle and Woody Harrelson crushing it. There's also a big theory that back in the Morbius trailer, Jared Leto was in a jumpsuit. So maybe in that prison scene that we see Woody Harrelson breaking out of prison, maybe he'll break Morbius out of prison. Maybe he'll break out Vulture out of prison. That's a huge theory that's going on. So it'll be interesting to see if we get that big Spider-Man, I guess, crossover, actually not starting with No Way Home, but starting with Venom 2.
yeah, up on screen right now for everybody interested. I have the picture, for the comparison between the Venom trailer showing the Daily Bugle like actual page I sent to you guys. So for everyone watching, you can see it up on screen now. So in the trailer for Venom 2, it shows one of the characters holding up the actual newspaper, and that Daily Bugle newspaper is identical to the one from Spider-Man 2, or the original Spider-Man from 2002.
Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man also had Daily Bugle, but it's not the same. That's the same logo from the Raimi films.
Yeah. So this is the exact same. So that's kind of the hint of like, is this just like a coincidence, or is this like hinting at something, or what's happening?
We did see the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man poster behind Morbius in the Morbius trailer too, like as a mural. So it clearly said they're clearly doing And I'm nervous because I'm not really happy with Tom Holland possibly joining the Sonyverse more than, sticking with the MCU because Sony's just a mess overall, other than aligning themselves with Feige. Other than Spider-Verse, they really haven't made any great Sony films, Spider-Man IPs ever. So I'm nervous if this is where they're taking it.
What's the Sony verse?
So Sony owns Spider-Man. If you don't know, Sony owns Spider-Man.
So when the MCU or someone else uses Spider-Man, they just give them money and they're like, "Give me Spider."
Sony has to become a part of the project. They have to be producers. They have to be a part of everything with the movie.
Yeah, they
How
have
did
like a
Sony
contract.
get Spider-Man?
Huh?
How'd they get him? Like, did Sony just like kidnap Spider-Man and be like, "You work for us now"?
I don't know. It's an IP.
I
I don't know
don't.
how you use
Yeah,
IP.
I think
Oh, Marvel sold the
I don't
rights
know the
sold the
logistics
rights
of
of
it.
Spider-Man to Sony in 1998.
Yeah.
It was so they.
Um,
I thought they had more than just
That's why
Spider-Man.
in Venom. That's why
Weird.
in Venom it says like in association with Marvel. It doesn't say at Marvel Studios off the bat. It says in association or something like that in the trailer. So it isn't a Marvel movie. It's a Sony film. It isn't like Feige isn't a part of it at all. It's Sony's own thing.
huh.
Yeah.
So like the Amazing Spider-Man, they
Rights
wanted
to the character.
yeah, Amazing Spider-Man, those were all Sony. They wanted their own Spider-Man universe. That didn't work out. They gave it to Feige for a couple movies, and that so far has clearly worked out. But now, since Venom, Morbius, Craven the Hunter stuff starts happening, it does not seem like we're getting Tom back in the MCU in a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's probably likely too. Lauren, did you get a chance to watch the trailer for Venom 2?
I did, yeah. I liked that they're like doing that scene where they're like killing the dude in the prison and like injecting the lethal liquids, and he's like, "Ah, I'm a monster." Boom. So I feel like that was a good description of it. Yeah, I liked that there's like Venom versus like other Venom. I like really don't get it. Haven't seen the first one, but like it looks fun, and I do like that like the character like the symbiote dude like in the dude in the dude. He's like talking to the dude like telepathically, but then the woman in the store like couldn't
Yeah.
hear him.
Yeah.
So he's just like walking around like a schizo nut job, just like talking to himself about killing people, and that's funny. He should vlog.
Absolutely.
Wait, I want to step in here before we end the conversation. It's a big conversation around the first movie. I want to ask you guys if they do it for the second one. So one of my major issues with the first movie that it wasn't rated R, that it was PG-13, and they would do they would set up a violent scene like Venom eating someone to happen, and then they just cut away. And based on the trailer, there's a couple of scenes that Venom clearly is going to eat someone again. Do you think, or do you want the film to be R, or I don't know. I really didn't like that it was not rated R. I don't think it's going to lose an audience at all if it's not R.
I think
I-
everything should be rated R.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that an R rating would be nice for a
Yeah.
show that's a movie that's so violent.
hmm Yeah, a character like Venom deserves the R rating. It's the same thing as Deadpool, where like Deadpool just wouldn't be Deadpool if it wasn't rated R, and I think Venom would definitely benefit from an R rating.
Even
Could
like Mortal Kombat.
Deadpool and Venom hang out?
Ooh, team up movie, buddy cop movie with Deadpool and
That would be
Venom.
really funny.
That will never happen.
As long as it's not Deadpool and Black Widow.
Oh man.
You hear about that?
Because they're dead?
So there was I'm hinting at a little bit of rumblings that came out in the past couple days where Ryan Reynolds, obviously who plays Deadpool, reportedly went to the Marvel execs and was like, hey, don't put me next to Black Widow in any sense, Scarlett Johansson, because apparently it's just some beef there. There's like an issues. I think they dated or something, so there was like. Yeah, so I mean, obviously she's dead. She's dead, so
yeah, this movie's dead for her, I think.
yeah. So there was a whole thing where Ryan Reynolds was like, "Oh, I don't want to be around her." So
yeah, but you won't see Venom interact with any of the MCU characters at all, unless it's related.
I mean, anything could happen. I don't know.
Sony's been pretty tight on this Spider-Man IP.
Yeah.
Spider-Man versus Sony thing, so I have no idea if they can get more than Spider-Man in the MCU.
Definitely, definitely.
Two times.
Yeah, we got to create our own characters. We have the IP, and then they can pay us.
Yeah.
True. Invincible did it well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
they
can
did
make
next.
our own like universe.
The movie Mafia verse.
Oh my God,
We should.
that's
We
true.
should.
MMV.
That sounds kind of sick.
MMV.
As
Honestly,
in comics.
honestly, bro, I think you're on to something. But we gotta close it off. So we can't let anyone else know. This has to be under lock and key. All right. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't tweet it. Do not tweet
You
this.
know, we're
Yeah.
just
Any,
talking about it on the air, on Twitch and YouTube.
yeah. No,
Podcast,
any
It's not.
potential
This is
listeners
not
just
live.
yeah, ignore everything we just said.
Oh,
this is
This is
not
under
getting
wraps.
recorded.
This is the Men in Black pen. Your memory has been erased.
Yeah.
if you could look right
Done.
here for me, please. But
Where are my sunglasses?
honestly though, but other than Venom, outside of Venom, we did get some other important news that I wanted to quickly touch on. So we saw that NBC dropped the Golden Globes from their programming for next year. So the Golden Globes, if they're happening, they won't be aired on NBC. And I think that that's kind of significant news. To my knowledge, NBC has been broadcasting the Golden Globes ever since they've been happening. So I think it's pretty significant that they're dropping them. Max, I know you looked into this topic a little bit.
Yeah, it's a major deal, and a lot of actors and people in the business have been supporting this from NBC. And it wasn't like NBC said, "We're gonna drop you from our TV network, but we'll put you on Peacock or something." They were clear like, "We're not covering you guys at all." Again, this is coming from because the difference between the Gold Globes and the Oscars is that the Oscars have thousands upon thousands of voters, and so it could become it's very diverse because there's thousands and thousands of people in the business. The Globes is not a lot of people, and we heard this past year when the Globes were happening that they were all white people voting for these awards. So they got a lot of slack. The fact that no one's been paying attention to this for years just shows. I mean, it's very sad. So now a lot of people are going again. The Golden Globes addressed it during the Golden Globes, like the committee, horribly. They got a lot of bad press for the way they addressed it on the award show, and now they got dropped. So I wonder what if a TV network will want to pick them up because again, the views and I think we talked about this when the Oscars were coming out. It was the worst viewed Oscars of all time, and that's the Oscars, not even the Golden Globes. So by a lot, wasn't even. I think it was only like 9.8 million people watched the Oscars, which is not a lot of people for that big of an award show. So it's a weird place right now for award shows in general because again a lot of people aren't really seeing these type of movies anymore, which is sad because I think a lot of these movies deserve to be seen, but I agree with NBC dropping them. I don't know where Golden Globes are going to go from here.
Absolutely.
We'll host them.
That's true. You hear that, Golden Globes? The movie
I think
Mafia
that's
has
the
got
worst
you.
possible
We're
statement we
gonna
can
get the
make right
worst press.
now.
All white
We're-
people.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We're gonna have only Temple grads vote on it. So we'll get a really diverse, set of judges who all have never seen the movies or whatever it is. And then we'll just be the hosts, like we'll be the MCs, and then my cat will DJ. Yeah.
It seems like a
Sounds like
flawless
party.
plan to me.
Yeah.
I can do the graphic design. We'll rebrand the whole Globes.
Wow, this is, man, we just have such good ideas today. What is going on? I mean,
The golden cones.
Oh my
I mean, ideas and opinions.
The
I mean,
word is a golden traffic cone.
the movie Mafia Golden Edition.
yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you with the Golden Globes. I think NBC probably made the right decision to drop them. The Golden Globes have never been nearly as enticing or interesting for me as the Oscars have been. For plenty of reasons, and most notably the diversity among voters. I think what happens with the Golden Globes, while it's a big deal that NBC's dropping them because it's clear that they're standing up, morally for the right thing, which is, having a diverse cast of voters, especially when you're voting on a incredibly diverse amount of movies. It's not as if they're white voters voting on white movies. It's white voters voting on movies of all different types and categories, which just makes it that much worse. So, but other than that, I do think a part of me is like, they're just the Golden Globes. I really don't care, um, whether or not NBC drops them in a sense, just because the Oscars have always seemed like the premier show for me for
Fair.
movies. I don't know where you stack up on that.
About the Globes
Yeah.
being, oh yeah, because I think a lot of people, even like me, who like care about all the award shows and like a part like the Globes are the ones that you don't really care about towards the Oscars because a lot of the winners from the Globes normally don't win Oscars, and also, but Golden Globes also have the rare distinction of being an award show that's both TV and movies. So it's a mixture of both, so it should be bringing in more people, but if they're not giving NBC ratings and NBC's against all of the, not the diversity that they want for the voters, then they shouldn't be wanting to do that. So, but it's been a long-standing tradition for years, and I think a lot of people around the business are. This is a big deal, and I'm sure we'll cover it when they get picked up, if they even get picked up by a new streaming platform or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I did also want to quickly, moving on from this Golden Globes news, I wanted to go through two quick little superhero bits of news that we got and get your guys' first reactions. So first off, we heard that Dave Bautista, who as we know is the actor for Drax, came out and said that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 will be the last movie that Drax will be in. And last movie he will be in as Drax. Whether or not they recast them is up to the MCU. But that will be his last movie playing Drax. What do you guys think about that kind of news?
Was
Wait,
I'm
who's Drax?
The guy who is like all like
Shirtless
with
and stuff.
shirtless with the body paint. He's all like
the
he has
gray guy with the red tattoos with the
yeah.
knives.
You have to see Guardians of the Galaxy.
I've
Yeah,
seen it.
You don't remember
Just
him?
like the
He's like the
the
one who's
fake
he's
Hulk.
weird. Yeah, I guess sort
Yeah.
of, yeah.
Knockoff Hulk. Okay.
Well, he's also smaller, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of curious though. I didn't I think I just saw like something on Instagram about this where it said like it's the last Marvel movie in his contract. So like he might, if they renew his contract, he might be in more Marvel movies.
Well, he
Because
actually came out on Twitter himself and said this is going to be my
Yeah.
last. Like he responded, like
oh
the
okay.
news broke and it was like this is going to be his last movie, and then he
Huh.
responded to the news and was like, yeah,
Because they
this
were
is
like,
it.
Guardian, are you gonna be back in Guardians 4? It's like Drax might be back, but I won't be back. That's what he said.
Yeah, that's exactly
Is
what
there
he
gonna
said.
be a Guardians 4? I thought
I don't
James
think
Gunn
James
said
Gunn's
3 was
coming
the
back
last
either.
one.
Yeah,
Oh god, if they do Guardians without Gunn, oh
and
jeez.
yeah.
But I do want to say too with Batista, I've been following him his whole career back from. I'm a big WWE guy, so back from WWE being a star to now transitioning into acting. He just wants to be a movie star now, like a lead actor,
Mhm.
like The Rock is now, like
Yeah.
John Cena has. They all transitioned from WWE to being like a mainstream lead actor. And Batista's had a lot of small roles, like Spectre. He was in he was in Spectre. He was in Blade Runner 2049. He's in a lot of. Stuber was an attempt. I didn't really think Stuber was that good. So I think I think there's nothing left to do with Drax. First of all, the character is not a main Guardian. Obviously Pratt is the main one, so there's nothing left for him to do as well. But also, I think he wants to do more lead acting things in Hollywood and being stuck, not stuck, but you know what I mean, like stuck in the Marvel stuff where he won't be anywhere seen. Because I heard like Gunn pitched him a Mantis and Drax spinoff movie, which I really don't want to see, but Gunn pitched Batista that, and Marvel hadn't responded to them once they pitched it. So maybe that's another reason why he's not coming back. But he's not seen as a main lead in the film, so that's why I think he's just done playing a character that's a side character.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that
that makes sense.
makes a lot of sense. I think I'm right there with you. And I did want to quickly touch on that this is part of all that. It kind of loops
Done.
together. We know that Army of the Dead is coming out on Netflix May 21st, and we'll talk more about that next episode. But that's a Zack Snyder movie. But the main thing here is Dave Bautista is going to be is the lead in that film, and it
Totally.
looks like he turned down a role in James Gunn's Suicide Squad. So as we know, we just said James Gunn is a director for the two Guardians of the Galaxy movies, movies and will be
Yeah.
for the third. He's also for DC switching sides. He's on DC doing DC's
The
Suicide
Suicide
Squad, and apparently he offered a role to Dave Bautista, who obviously, as we just said, plays Drax. And Dave
Wanted
Bautista
me
turned
more.
that down so that he can play a lead role. So I think Max is completely right. You hit the nail on the head
Yeah.
when you say that, as much as he's happy to finish out Drax's character in the third Guardians movie, he really doesn't want to do anything more because he's not a main character. And, it's
And
clear that
also,
lead roles are important to him.
and to Gunn too, and Gunn's talked about him not coming back either. I think we've learned why, and because Gunn literally praises Warner Brothers, the way they've handled his movie, his openness, the fact that he can do basically whatever he wants with the Suicide Squad movie. If it's gonna be good or not doesn't matter.
Mhm.
You never hear him talk about like, Marvel gave me so much freedom. I think why Suicide Squad has opened his eyes a lot is because he's not trying to set up a universe. He's not trying to continue the path to set up more Marvel movies. He's making his own movie with his own characters, with his own decisions. So that has literally opened his eyes. I think that's why he won't come back for more Marvel movies, because DC showed that he can basically do whatever he wants, which is weird because Snyder does not get that at all.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's
Gunn,
funny that
Gunn got that. Even Snyder said that Warner Brothers is anti-Snyder this week. So
yeah.
it
Well,
was
that's what
fun to
happens
see.
when you make Batman versus Superman.
Oh, I mean, he made Man of Steel though, so he made Man of
I
Steel.
think it's kind of unfair the way that they're treating Snyder though. Just
Yeah, it's
for
ridiculous.
the fan reception from Snyder Cut, like all the DC fans want Snyderverse to be continued, and Warner Bros is like, And while we're on
They
that,
can do better.
it's a good time to jump to the other small superhero news if we still have time for that. Superman.
Absolutely. I definitely want to talk about that real quick. So, DC, you're absolutely right, did come out with some news, and the news is that they are bringing Superman back. However, it's not Henry Cavill like fans were calling for. It's instead going to be a new Superman, and it's going to be, I don't think they haven't picked an actor yet to play him, but it's going to be an African American Superman. So, what's also very strange about this is they've chose to keep it. I believe they're going to keep him as Clark Kent. He's just going to, instead of just being typical Clark Kent, he's just going to be black. But this is very odd because there's actual black Superman characters in the comics. I'm trying to remember the name off the top of my head.
There was a
I'll have
Black
to
Lightning
search it up.
too.
Yeah, well, no, but there's specifically, I forget his name. Hang on, give me one. Oh yeah, so his name is Calvin Ellis. He's actually the Black Superman in the comics. He has a whole backstory, has a whole storyline. His name is Calvin Ellis, and people were really frustrated that DC, yes, they're going with a Black Superman, which I think about time. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
cannot wait. But I would have much rather them chose to go with, an actual character they've had established, or
Yeah.
obviously he's not in any TV shows or any movies or anything,
Mhm.
but this is a black character that's been in comics for a little while now. It looks like he debuted in 2009 in comics. So like he's been established, been around in comics. I'd love to see that adapted. It feels like they don't trust the fact that they have a black Superman now, so they're choosing to keep him as Clark Kent because they don't want to fully go, dive into that,
Yeah.
which bothers me personally. I don't know how you guys, feel about this news.
I mean, I definitely think it's good. The funniest thing I think about this situation is that they released the news on Henry Cavill's birthday, which I just feel is sort of rubbing salt in the wound.
Yeah.
But just about it in general, like, yeah, definitely about time. It is weird that there is a black Superman character and this isn't him. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. I think it'll be kind of nice to see, like, Man of Steel. One of the good things about Man of Steel was sort of like how Clark's family was like trying to hide his powers from people, and I think taking that and putting another, like, oh, he's not white on top of that, is, as long as they do it sort of like that, I think that'd be a really interesting take on it. So I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a pretty fine decision.
And as like Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing it, who's African American, you would think that he would bring in a lot of personal, maybe I'm not trying to be anything. I'm just trying to say we need a different take. It can't be
Yeah.
as Jacob was saying, and I think everyone would take it personally. It was just a stereotypical Clark Kent again, just he's black. They have to
Exactly.
really change
Yeah.
it and make
Definitely.
it a lot better. And it could be a really special movie when you think about it. We've never
Yeah.
had Superman's never had that deep of a problem ever. Even if you love, and I really like the first two Christopher Reeve films. I really like Man of Steel. If you even like those movies, you know that it's very much this. There isn't many deep problems. There's normally problems with people, Krypton, like Zod, or love life issues. This could be a special movie because it's a really deep, relatable, authentic issue that could make Superman even better, which is really exciting.
Definitely. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
JJ Abrams is producing, so he normally makes good action flicks. So I'm excited to see what they do with the movie.
Cough, Force Awakens.
For sure.
Yeah, but you can't count Star Wars.
No,
all the
I just
time.
have to tease. I
It
just
was
have
not
to
just
tease.
him.
That is
Yeah,
true.
he
I just have to
directed
I just have to put a little salt in the wound is all.
He directed Mission Impossible 3, which is very good. He produced 4. He Star Trek.
Yeah,
mean,
I
he's
actually
making good
love the
movies.
Star Trek movies, like the new ones.
He's been making good movies for a while, and and especially as a producer, he's a very good producer. So I'm excited to see what he does with this film.
Yeah, I think a lot of the I think this film seems to be a step in the right direction for Warner Brothers and DC as a whole. I do think a lot of fans, including myself, have some concerns around like what I was saying earlier, but going deeper into that, just the idea of like, we have this black character, this black Superman now. I think there's a lot of really good room for amazing storytelling, but at the same time, I really hope that DC and Warner Brothers is focused on the storytelling and bringing a black Superman to audiences into theaters, as opposed to having something just to rub in Henry Cavill's face. We know they released this news on his birthday, so that makes it seem like it's more important for Warner Brothers to shove it in his face rather than to actually make this story. And obviously, you said we have Ta-Nehisi Coates. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Directing, and he's a black director, so hopefully this will be, he can make this into the movie it deserves to be, and the movie it has the potential to be. I just hope that this isn't DC trying to put salt in the wound for Henry Cavill and also trying to repair their image after all the stories that we've had Gal Gadot coming out and talking about Joss Whedon and DC's management. So I hope this is authentic and not coming from a place where they're trying to backpedal.
And Marvel just, in my opinion, nailed it with the Captain America, Falcon Winter Soldier, nailing the Isaiah Bradley character, and nailing Sam taking the responsibility of the character. Now, it can't be that simple. It's not going to be like that. Totally different characters. But you still, even if it was a white Superman, okay, it can't just be the same Superman again. I think people are getting tired of the same Superman. I know that really the main difference between Reeves, Superman, and Cavill's that one's cheesy and one's taken super seriously. But they're really playing the same person. So you need a different Superman. I think this will, and Michael B. Jordan obviously is the one who's been heavily rumored to play the character, which would be very excited for because I think he's very good. So if it's him, I would be very excited as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. All right. Well, with that being said, I think there's a few other stuff we wanted to talk about, but we're about at our time right now, so I think we should push that until the next episode. Next episode, we're definitely going to talk a little bit more about Army of the Dead, as that release date will be coming up. But all right, so thank you everybody for watching. We're going to wrap up the episode there. I appreciate everybody tuning in, checking us out, and that has been the Movie Mafia podcast, and you'll see us back next week for another episode. All right. See you guys.